How's it going, Internet Land? Zachimus Prime, aka Zachimus Prime, here with another Transformers first party review. The figure we're looking at today is the Kingdom, the Transformers Kingdom Commander class Rodimus Prime, and it's Rodimus Prime. I know that the Transformers Kingdom line has been interesting in the respect of there's a bunch of figures in it like Cyclonus or Galvatron or Rodimus RC, who their Kingdom figures, Ultra Magnus, I think probably fits into that. They're Kingdom figures, but really they're Studio Series from the 1986 movie. They just didn't have space in the Studio Series line, so they just threw them into Kingdom, which is fine. But yeah, you know, in that regard, then it's important to, first of all, it blurs the line between Studio Series and Kingdom, the main line or whatever, generations. They're both generations lines, I guess. But anyhow, Rodimus, he's not a bad figure. I don't know that he's going to be everybody's cup of tea, but he's really not a bad figure. He's got, you know, quite a bit of size to him, quite a bit of complexity. I actually crunched some numbers and found out that the Earthrise Optimus Prime is composed of about 86 plastic pieces. I didn't actually physically disassemble it, but I did a thorough count of it. I think it's about 86 pieces. This is about 122, so it's definitely a more intense build and a more complex figure. With more parts and whatnot, of course, parts reflects directly in the cost. But yeah, he's that's him right there. Looks pretty decent from the front and the back. I like how he's got the little flappy things that kind of, I can't quite get these to really feel like they're tabbing in like they mean it. But, you know, they kind of cover everything up, and no orange plastic on him. But, you know, he's got several orange bits that are painted, so, I mean, that works out. Actually, no yellow plastic on him either. This is all this clear blue. I don't know why they made it clear blue, but that's all clear blue, and then they painted it yellow and orange. So, weird. But let's get real quick into accessories, and boy, has he got a lot of accessories. Stick that guy off to the side. Of course, he's got this whole flippin' trailer. Trailer's got a bunch of stuff with it. I've got it actually kind of decked out at the moment, because I've got my little Blush effects here. Of course, he comes with, this is the effects part that came with Omega Supreme. Omega Supreme. And of course, that one was, you know, painted up and whatnot. And this one is just sculpted all in clear plastic. You do get 3 of these tips. So, uno, dos, tres. So you can have like one of them on your blast effect, and then have like 2 of them down here, pegged into your trailer, so that he can be going like a super fast Space Winnebago. But, yeah, you know, blast effects, what can I say? His trailer, it opens up as a trailer, I believe, is supposed to do. So these guys here are spring-loaded, but they're a little bit weird. This one in particular just does not, like, I'll put it here, and then instead of being moved out by this little triangular flappy flap here, it like slides in front of it and then causes an interference issue, and it's kind of obnoxious. But these things actually come down, they touch the ground. You can open up the back of it here, and then open up this part of it here. Well, actually, let's crank this whole part down for now. You can bring this part up, bring these little flaps out here, fold that in so it's not getting in the way, have this come out. And then you can take your Rodimus figure, plonk them down here, have him grab these things. And then he could be, you know, running his own turret in his trailer, like a little gun emplacement. which, you know, that's completely on point with the G1 figure. So that's a very acceptable thing for me. Of course, you can also use any Voyager class figure. They're all roughly the same size. Take this part off, and then you can fold that up and park it somewhere else. It's got these like little like treads on it, but it's not really like, it doesn't look like an independent vehicle unless maybe you want to like do it like this. Yeah, that'll stick. Nope. Yeah, you could, you know, run that around as your own little vehicle, I suppose. And now you've got just a bajillion of these little peg holes here. You could store your weapons literally anywhere you wanted. You could store it here, store it here, 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 here. Granted, not all these will work when you have it closed up, because, for example, these pegs here are going to sit flush with the inside of the, there we go, so you can actually see it. These holes here are going to like be completely covered up by the inside of the stuff when you close it up, so something to think about. Not all of these weapon ports are usable, but when you have them all folded up, yeah, let's put the back up first. Yeah. When you have them all folded up, then, you know, here he is. He's a box, and you can open this part up. And you can have, like, little guys fit inside here and have them come out the way you often, like, always see with Optimus Prime's trailer. He also has MP44 style, this tray on the bottom that you can slide out and fit some additional stuff on it. He's got this is basically, I think, the same effect part that came with Rodimus, but it's not molded in soft plastic. This is molded in like a firm plastic. So that's an interesting thing to keep around. Plus he's got, if I can get them out, using one of his other accessories. Those things wedge in there, but as you can see, they wedge in there pretty damn tight. Close that up, put that aside. These are molded in like really shiny black. These are just plain black plastic. They're not smoked, they're not translucent in any way. It's just black plastic. So they look more like smoke instead of some sort of blast effects, and I don't know that I like that at all. I don't know that I really care for these effects. But, you know, they can be plugged in on his smokestacks like that, or you can take them and plug them in his wrist parts like so. So you've got a couple options. This part here, as I mentioned, this is pretty much the same one that comes with Hot Rod. You can open up his chest, and he has the Matrix, which is the same one that came with Hot Rod, which is the same one that came with the original, the Voyager class, Earthrise, that's the one. The Earthrise Optimus Prime. Peg that in there, and then he could like, I could do all the like finicky bits to actually like have him holding it in his hand, but that's a lot of work, and we've all kind of seen what it looks like. It's not really amazing. So I'm going to plug this back in there and close that back up. He also comes with a sword, which I always think is great. Robots with swords are awesome. That plugs into his hand. You can close his fingers around it, and then he can swish a sword at things, which is definitely something. He also comes with his gun. They don't separate it. It's just all one gun. It folds in half for storage, I guess, though there's nowhere on this to actually store it. For a thing that has enough storage options, you've got here, and then of course under here. When you have this part stuck in here, like that takes up all of your space on the inside bay. And you really can't fit basically anything. Like I'm sure if someone's trying to be contrarian, they could find some like little things to stick in maybe a couple of these ports when they get this all folded up. But by and large, there's really not space to fit anything else in here. And that's kind of frustrating because then you've got this, and of course these have got a parts, and these you can plug in, and this plugs into the bottom of the vehicle mode. I'll show you that in a bit. But like, you can't do anything with these at all. Nothing. Because they won't fit in this storage compartment here, and they won't fit in this storage compartment here, and they won't fit inside here, so you just have to stick them to the side, put them in a plastic bag, whatever you need to do. So I don't know. That's his accessories. They're cool. They're definitely like chunkier and heftier than the like weak ass trailer that came with the Earthrise Optimus Prime. Instead of being just a box, like it's definitely a lot more thought and a lot more work went into this. It's like I said, it's not a perfect option. You don't have places to put everything, but you've got places to put most things. And I mean, it looks good. We'll get to that. It looks good in vehicle mode. But let's get into the articulation of this figure. So starting with the head and working our way down. His head is on a ball joint, so it will look down, it will look up. He's got like a hinge that it's on afterwards, so he'll look up quite a bit. He'll look down-ish a little bit, kind of that far. Rotates just fine. A little bit of, side-to-side motion here. His shoulders are actually really good here. They go up like so. They go around if he didn't have a wing in the way. But I mean, honestly, who really needs to pose their figure with the shoulders specifically in that position? It's not something that you're going to encounter. So I mean, I'm not going to mark it down or anything like that for that. He does have like a butterfly joint in there, which is cool. He's got a double jointed elbow. He's got an elbow swivel. Come on, peg back in. This is a really cool thing, but this tab does not latch in there super well, so something to be aware of. Elbow swivel. His wrist moves in and out. This is not a transformation joint, so that's just for posability, which is cool, I suppose, though. With a sword, I would have accepted a little bit of that motion instead. Thumb is immovable. His finger has got a joint at the base knuckle and one in the middle, and then all three fingers, same posability, but they're all molded together. He's got a waist swivel. His legs are on this integrated hip armor thing, which works great that far forward. Only that far back. He's got a little side skirt here that pops up when you move his leg to go for like 60% of a Van Damme. Maybe that's 70%. I don't know. A bit of thigh swivel here, but be very cognizant of the fact that this entire thigh is all painted orange. This is molded in red plastic and it's painted orange. And when you move this in and out, you're probably rubbing some plastic somewhere way up at the top. So if that's a big deal to you, be careful. If not, don't worry about it. He's got a double jointed knee for a pretty full bend, which is great. Though, I mean, the joints are in such a way that no matter how you run them, you don't get much more bend than that. So I think it looks better from that one, to be honest. Which would basically mean a single joint, but, I didn't make the rules. He's got a bit of an ankle tilt, not a whole lot because his ankle armor starts getting in the way of the tilt, but he's got, that much tilt. Forward and back, and you can crunch up his foot a little bit. So, pretty decent posability. Pretty decent you know, pretty decently designed figure. I will say the one thing that I absolutely do not like is his face sculpt. Now, I got this figure. I mean, I've seen the pictures. I've complained about the pictures. You know, we all have. I got this figure largely under the pretense that I think it will probably look better in person. And I'm here to tell you, it does not. His face does not look better in person. It still looks just old man Rodimus, and I don't really care for the way it looks, especially since the face sculpt on Hot Rod was nigh unto perfect. And I do feel that maybe some less harsh paint would really fix that up. You know, if they use something other than this like silver paint on his face, would really help to kind of hide some of the sharp lines of his face. If they had smoothed out some of those sharp lines a little bit, I thought about going in there with a little bit of like emery cloth or a very fine file and working that down a little bit and then repainting the face. But ultimately I was like, that's a lot of work. I'm probably going to mess it up. And, you know, maybe at some point a third-party company, yay, third party come to save the day. But it's just, it's dumb to have, you get first-party figures and then just always have to like, well, it would be great if we had a third-party part for it. So, I don't know. I don't like his face, but honestly, that's the only thing about this figure that I don't really like. So, there is that. To get this guy transformed up is actually not too difficult. Let's start at the upper body. Let's get this part unpegged here, and let's get this part unpegged here. This joint's a little tight. The balance back there is not so tight. And we'll get this. There's like a peg at the bottom. If you grab the lower chest and lift up on it, that'll kind of unpeg that a bit. And then there's a more secure peg here that you got to yank a little bit more and it'll click undone. So with that out of the way, you can then take and disconnect his arms like so, and then they'll move up on this little double joint thing, and do the same for the other side. Move them up. And then you can take this and pivot just this top part all by itself. And when this is in this position, actually this is as good a point as any to rotate just the bottom part. And then we can start maneuvering this all around. You'll take this wheel here, and this is actually super clever. Unpeg it from here, click it out, and then peg it back into itself. And the whole tire, like it's able to recess into his arm without looking like it's recessed. I think that's really clever. I like that a lot. Straighten out his arm and then push on it to click that back together. There's a panel here on the inside of his arm. You want to pull that panel and then pull it from the underside as well. You want to take his hand and you want to put it into this position. We've all seen this in high school. But that's how he actually gets transformed. You have to put his hand like this to make you look. With this part pulled out, you're going to turn this around. This is going to kind of fold in, which allows you to turn that and bring that out. And then this will fold down like so. And that's basically your arm, how it needs to be. Let's do the same to the other one. Click that into place. Hand already made you look. By the way, if you go back over my videos, most times I have a figure with posable hands. I've got the made you look pose. Just saying. Get that all folded up like so. Get this start to be aligned. You want to take this guy here and bring this up and in. And then you'll see there are these T-shaped tabs here, and then fold out these. These ones, they like to pop off really easily. And of course, now there it is. They like to pop off really easy. Be very careful when you're transforming these. They don't get broken, but I would be concerned about losing them because they are tiny pieces and really critical for the look of the figure. Anyhow, so those T-shaped tabs go into these T-shaped slots. Funny how that works out, but that is exactly how it does. And then this whole part, you've got these 2 slots right here, and there's tabs on the windshield. Those tabs are going to go into the slots. And this is just going to sit here like this for now. Oh yeah, there's tabs here on the inside of his arms. So now to do his legs, what we want to do is we want to open this up. It really, like, you've got additional joints in here, but it won't open up more than that. This is another part of this figure that I don't particularly care for, which is you have to hook your finger underneath here and flex this. Flex this more than I'm comfortable with. And then you got to kind of grip the outside of the tire and the inside of this black piece here, and that will have to, it's really frustrating. But basically, let's see if I can use this. Nope. Let's see, no. Basically, you got to move this out, and it's a really frustrating. There we go. So now that I got that out, then you can take this, fold down this. There's like a Combiner Wars style collapsing here. You want to basically fold this so that you're utilizing both this hinge here, like both of his double joints of his leg, of his knee, to move his leg backwards. So fold that up as far as it'll go, and then this will go back in. You'll see this peg here will go into, there's a little tab on that black hub, and it'll go around and plug into that tab, and that'll keep all of this together. This will kind of locate onto that, and there's one leg all done. Let's do the same on the other side. Open this up, get his foot out of the way, flex this more than I'm really comfortable with, pinch this wheel. Yeah, that came out so much easier. Double bend his knee backwards, and then you can take this, peg it in together. Now his legs will tab into each other. His foot will just hang out on the back. You've got this little parts locate back here, and then you just take this, fold this around, close it up. There are some tabs and slots that will just easily go into each other, and then to finish it up, take this panel coming around, it'll tab into a slot back there, and there he is in his car mode. And it looks fine. I mean, in Season 3, you see him without his trailer in vehicle mode like once. And I think it's a transition shot as his trailer is like rolling up. And that's basically how it looks, like a bigger, chunkier version of his movie appearance. But yeah, you can take this sword. He's got tabs on the back of both of his legs. You can tab it into either one with no problem whatsoever. You can take this, slot his trailer onto him till it clicks, until this goes all the way back. And there he is as the Space Winnebago. And that's like all that there is to it. You can plug in these guys here, or you can, when he's not the Space Winnebago, you can plug them in here. Yes, you can plug them in here, and that is the bulk of. You can store his gun, kind of, because he's got 2 pegs on it. And the one peg just almost always gets in the way of the other peg. So, I mean, you can store it. No, not there. Bring in his trailer. Store it there. Or there, kind of. Though, The other one's going to get in the way of it. He's a little longer than we're used to seeing his alt mode. I don't think it looks bad, pretty much at all. I see it's kind of appealing the way it looks. I think it looks a lot better than the Power of the Primes one that we got. I have had this conversation with a friend of mine who does say that he greatly prefers the Power of the Prime one because it, like, you know, does all the different Hot Rod, Rodimus things all in one, and I respect that. It's absolutely true. The Power of the Prime figure, it's Hot Rod, it's Rodimus, it's Car Hot Rod, and Robot Hot Rod, and Vehicle Rodimus, and, you know, Robot Rodimus, and that's cool, but, like, this is a purpose-made instrument, and I think it works out pretty good. That looks an awful lot like a Christmas tree if it was, like, green. Get out of the shot, Wheelie. But all in all, you know, I think it's good to. I'm all for supporting the Commander class as a line. I think that there's a lot of potential in it, and so I want Hasbro to keep making them. So I did make sure that I went out and bought a figure. I don't know that this scratches any itches for Rodimus, particularly that I had. I mean, by what I mean to say is I don't know that I particularly had an itch for Rodimus, whereas as much as I dislike Hot Rod as a character, yes, I am in the Hot Rod killed Prime camp, though I'm slowly but steadily moving out of that in favor of the Snarl killed Optimus camp. I was turned on to that little fan theory and just love it to bits. Not least of which because Snarl is my very favorite Dinobot. But anyhow, like, I really like this figure. This figure is almost perfect, and this figure is decent. I would even go so far as to say that I think that it's probably worth $80, at least for most people. Some people have had issues with this, by the way. I have issues intermittently with it, where this doesn't want to tab together completely. Something to be aware of. I think that it has to do with if this gun in here presses up against the roof at all, because there's a couple places, most notably there's a spot right here where it presses up against that roof. You know, as a machinist, I'm all for close tolerances. As we say in the machinist industry, clearance is clearance. But I don't know that that really counts as a clearance, or if it's starting to count as an interference fit. Because I think we're starting to get a little bit of interference there. But I think it's an alright figure. If you need a Rodimus, a G1 Studio Series styled Rodimus in your collection, this is absolutely the one to get, as far as I'm concerned. But I'm not gonna, like, you know, kiss the ground it walks on, I guess, is really as far as my recommendation goes. But anyhow, thanks for watching, everybody. You guys are amazing. Everybody, stay awesome and be good to each other. See ya. Bye.